Welcome to another edition of Punch TV. On today's episode, we are going to talk to local comic creator Braeden Hafichuk about his new comic, Shimmering Basin. And Tony the Collector is going to talk to a new collector in town. He owns Figure 4 collectibles, and we're going to see some cool stuff there. And for those who've got the winter blues, we've got Major Party, who is going to take us through an air guitar meditation. We'll also hear from Hank and Craig, so stay tuned. We are at Amazing Stories, and I'm here with Braeden Hafichuk, and congratulations on your first comic, Shimmering Basin!
Thank you so much, Jody!
Yeah, it's really, really good. How long did it take you to make this comic?
So in general, production initially started November 2019. Just because I had this idea going around for the comic, and I just had a general concept. But then my friend Greg Kamichuk was in town for Sask Expo, and I pitched the idea to him, and he's like, "Yeah, no, but an idea is an idea. Get to work on it." So he gave me that boost. So November 2019, I spent the whole month drafting out the script, and then I let it sit for a month or two until February, just so give it enough time for editing it. And then from March until August, it was just nonstop work on the artwork for the book. So
awesome. That is actually like really speedy in my experience. So wow, yeah, you're a total workhorse. Did the COVID, did you have any time off during the pandemic to actually help you get the comic done?
Well, I was lucky enough to keep my position at my job throughout the pandemic. So in some aspects, I was even able to work from home. But I like the office environment, even if I was the only one going in to the whole building. It was me. But definitely a lot more time that I would have spent in social activities or out and about in the community shopping, I was able to dedicate to the comic. So yeah, no, I was like, the pandemic definitely provided me more opportunity to create the book. I'm not happy about the pandemic, but it was a small benefit for it.
Yeah, we'll take the victories where we can get them from, right? Okay, so Shimmering Basin, it's an adventure tale. Mm-hmm. Where did the inspiration for these characters come from?
So I've always loved fantasy. Even as a kid, I would read as much as I could. I just scarfed down the Lord of the Rings movies as a kid. My brother and I would just do nonstop marathons of them all the time. We love Aragon. We love all the books that were geared to our age group at the time. But just a recent trend where it's like, anytime I'd go to Indigo or Chapters, and I'd be looking for a new book to read, I'd go to the Fantasy Isle, and it was all 1,000-page sagas or 10-book maxi series. And don't get me wrong, those are perfectly good series. I've heard nothing but great things about them. But it's just nice to have those kind of one-off, lighter tales. And I picked up Naomi Novik, one of her books. It's called Uprooted, and it was great. It was a nice one-off tale. And it was more about like kind of just life in a fantasy world rather than these grand adventures. So I was thinking like, okay, like we follow these like huge heroes like Conan the Barbarian and the Fellowship of the Ring all across the world, but what's it actually like to live in the world? And everybody's got adventures and everybody's got a story, and I just wanted to create a book that kind of focuses on that aspect where it's like a bit of slice of life, like stuff for us, but also just exploring all the hidden adventures in all the nooks and crannies of the world.
Well, it is definitely like Shima is a regular gal, mm-hmm. and it is very relatable, even though it's a fantasy, setting and everything. But like a lot happens in this comic. Like in the few pages that we have here, like there is a lot of action. A lot takes place. Like, how did you manage to pare it down?
Oof. That was definitely an effort, because I knew there was so much I wanted to put into the book. Like this is my first time writing a comic. I've written books before, and I've published a fantasy novel in the past, but like getting the visual storytelling and getting the visual beats down, that took quite a bit of practice. And there was like, I was going like, oh, what about a page of just Shema lying in her room, like slowly getting bored, and I was like, okay, no, you gotta be a bit conservative with like the page use here. And so that took a bit of reining in, but I knew I knew I didn't want to end it on a cliffhanger. I knew that I didn't want it to be a two-part or something, so I was like, all right, I got to fit as much of the story in as I can. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that. I've heard nothing but great things about it, and it was a real experience just having just a finished tale like at my hands.
Yeah, it's amazing to have the product in your hands, like a physical thing, tangible production of your imagination is amazing. So again, congratulations, because I know like how much work goes into that. I love Shema, and she is a really interesting main character, but there are a lot of characters who live in Shimmering Basin as well. Will Shema always be like the main protagonist, or do you see maybe other characters taking the helm?
Shema's definitely kind of like the keystone bedrock of the story. Like she it's like with Star Wars right now, where it's like, yeah, you have like the Skywalker trio, but like you've also got the Mandalorian right now, and you've got all the comics following different people. So Shema will always be that keystone character that's kind of the roots, the connection between the reader and the world. But I've definitely figured out stories of like, oh, where like Hobby takes lead. Hobby's the son of the local Viscount, and seeing what life is like for him, and just the big shoes he has to fill with his dad, his dad is lower on the nobility scale, but just with the few resources he has, his dad is able to accomplish so much in Shimmering Basin. So it's Hobby kind of looking up at his dad as a hero, but also this massive monolithic shadow that he has to live up to. So kind of that, but there's also like other characters I want to introduce coming to the town in future issues, and I don't want it to get too action-packed and too adventure-y, but definitely I want a little bit more of that in the next few issues. It's going to be nice.
Awesome. So when? That's the big question. When will we see another issue?
So luckily enough, it's actually going at a much bigger pace right now. I absolutely loved doing the artwork on issue 1, but it was a lot. It was just night after night working on it. It was a great learning experience. I loved it, but I knew that if I wanted to keep this going and I wanted to keep momentum up, I kind of have to step a little bit back. So for the second issue, I've just taken over writing responsibilities and editing and production. And I've actually gotten a friend of mine, his name is Joshua Devonair, really talented artist. He's very passionate about the story, and he's doing the artwork right now. And he's doing the pencils right now, and the pencils he's sending me blow me away. And he said he's going to have the first half of it done by March.
Woo!
And, hopefully by start of midsummer, we're going to have issue 2.
Awesome. That's great news. I mean, collaborating means you can do things a little faster, right? Mm-hmm. So awesome. Can't wait to see the new issue. And again, congratulations on the issue that we have in our hands. It is fantastic. And it's a great story for anyone to read. It's family friendly and, no bad language and all that stuff. So excellent job. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com. In person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
My name is Tony. I'm the collector. We're here today at Figure 4 Toys and Games. I love your store. This is Travis, by the way, good friend of mine. He's been here a long time. Not really, but he's been here a while. But it seems like he's been here forever because I'm here every week. It's really cool to be here today.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Tony. Appreciate it.
So what happens? Like, how do you're a collector to start off with. When did you start collecting toys?
Oh, man. To put an actual date on it, I have no idea. A long time ago, we can put it that way. What kind of got me into it was I went to a grad sale one time and I found a wrestling figure for a quarter. And one of my friends actually said, that wrestler is like worth quite a bit. And so I looked it up, and of course, yeah, he's worth like $100. And that's what got me into it. So then I started going to more grad sales and buying up wrestling figures, and that's kind of how it started for the whole collecting.
So have you always been buying, when you started out, were you always buying like loose carded stuff, or loose stuff, or you buying new stuff? How did it kind of start?
So pretty much it was always used stuff. And yeah, pretty much just loose stuff, pretty much whatever you could find. And that's kind of what was the part of the downfall I guess, was just buying everything. So you're just like, oh, I remember that, or I remember that, and then you just branch out. Instead of just collecting one thing, it just ended up being everything.
I disagree. I think you should buy everything. Branching out is a bad idea, because if you branch out, then you miss stuff later, and you're kind of thinking, man, I really should have bought that. So my thought is, if you see it, buy it, because it won't be there tomorrow.
That you know what? And that's for the store. That's probably really good advice, because people come in all the time, they see it and they're not sure, and come back maybe the next day or whatever, and it's gone. So when you see it, that's the time to get it for sure.
I find that toy collecting now has really expanded as far as like when I remember like even 5 years ago buying toys, it was all new stuff, used stuff you'd be buying on eBay. There wasn't really a lot of used toy stores around.
Yeah.
They're really kind of they're getting bigger and bigger. Your store actually started about a year ago, was it?
Yeah. So we opened up July 1st of last year. Yeah.
And you actually started next door, Bay 2, and now you've moved into Bay 3, which is twice the size. So obviously you got way more stuff, which means that sales are doing well for you as well.
Yeah, it's actually was really surprising. I didn't think that it would be as well perceived as it is. And I didn't expect people to bring in so much stuff all the time, which is fantastic. I love it. It saves me the time from going out and sourcing it myself. But it's been fantastic. A lot better than what I thought, for sure.
So is that kind of where you get most of your toys from? Are people coming into the store, or are you buying online as well?
Yeah, so it's like thrill of the hunt for me, is going out and finding it. So I think that kind of what makes us different from other toy stores maybe, or used toy stores or game stores, is we don't just rely on people coming into the store and selling it. We're always going out and trying to find more stuff, like all over the world. So I think that's kind of what makes us a little bit different.
I find that with eBay now, with all the kinds of like the extra charges and stuff like that, it's harder and harder to buy stuff. Shipping is more expensive now, and it's really nice to have a store that you can go to and buy the stuff you want, see it before you buy it. Yeah. Do you have any problems with people coming in and like just not being happy with the toys they buy, or is it most of the time that they see it and they're quite happy with it?
I've never had really a bad experience yet. Knock on wood. Everyone's been awesome, and being able to see something before you buy it is definitely a plus, because especially with some of these old vintage toys, people have more expectations of condition. So you want to see the condition of the box. Does it have the instructions? What kind of shape is things in? So being able to come in and see it, and especially it being more of a collector market, people definitely pay attention to condition. Some people, the people that are just getting into it, don't really care. They just want everything. Yeah. But then I think the older collectors, they definitely more care about condition.
And that is what I was getting at. It's awesome to see what you get. I find with eBay and places like that, I buy things, I get them, and I'm always disappointed. So when I come to buy a store, it's true that you buy something from a store, you see it and you love it and you buy it. Yeah. So you don't have that complaint where you're like, yeah, you said this was graded as a 9, it's actually like a 4. We get that with comics a lot too. So it's really nice to be able to walk into a store. So here's the thing, your store has a lot of stuff. What do you sell the most of?
Oh man, so this is strange actually. But so before the store, I would do flea markets and stuff like that, and sell that way. And it was always video games. Like 80% of what I would sell would be video games. So when I opened the store, I kind of expected that, but it's been probably reversed. 80% toys, and it's probably things Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, stuff like that.
I've actually come into your store a few times, and I see people it's like they're giddy. I'm the same way. I walk into a store and I see a lot of things that are just so exciting that I've seen, like you said, when you're a kid. And people get giddy, and it's hard not to buy something because your brain explodes with excitement when you see all the stuff in the store.
Yeah, it's people come in all the time and their mind is just blown. And I think the number one question I get asked is where do you find this stuff? Where do you get it? Like people don't think this stuff still exists, and to be able to come to a place and actually see it, but you're allowed to buy it, which is awesome. So people don't think it's like a museum or whatever, but you can actually buy these things and take them home, which is the best part. You can own it.
I just saw when I walked in the door here, right on the wall, you have a Spider-Man game. I've never seen it before. It's probably from the 70s or early 80s. It's amazing. Yeah. And I see that and I'm like, I don't care what it costs. I'm taking that home today. It's just exciting. You just look at it and you're like, this is what I want. Yeah. As a collector, where did you start? Or what are you buying now yourself?
Over all the years, for a collector, room becomes part of the problem. So you have so much stuff, and then you need more room for more stuff. So you kind of downsize your collection. And I think a lot of collectors are at that point too. collecting's kind of been popular for, maybe 4 or 5 years longer, but more people have been getting into it. So a lot of people have a lot of stuff. So they've been downsizing and kind of focusing on, okay, what do I care about the most? What do I really want? And so with me, with downsizing, it's mostly wrestling. Old WWF stuff is kind of my jam right now. It's kind of my biggest thing. So, but the best part about it is I pretty much have everything I've been looking for. And so when things come into the store, I don't really take anything home. There's only been one thing since I've opened that I've actually ended up taking home. So there's not really anything I'm looking for, but I'm a huge vintage wrestling guy.
That is ludicrous. That's crazy. I cannot understand how someone would have this much stuff and have everything they want already. You must that's incredible.
It's good feeling.
Yeah, I know. I can't even imagine. Every time I look around, I'm like, I need all these things.
Yeah.
So that's good. You must have a really nice collection that you're,
Yeah.
I guess you're happy with. I don't know why you wouldn't just keep taking stuff home personally. This place would be empty and I'd have everything in a storage if it was me, but that's me.
That's kind of how that's how you end up with a store, right? It's having
Exactly.
too much stuff. Yeah, you can't
too
keep
much store.
Can't keep it all. You got to get rid of it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Thanks for having me down today. So I just want to say that coming into your store has always been a treat for me. Yeah. I can see why people would come down here. Kids must just love it when they walk in the store to see new things. Yeah. And I really love your store. And I know that I'll be in here lots. It's a great store. Thank you very much. Thanks, Travis.
Thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
No problem. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's fun. I'm going to go buy that game now.
Awesome. Ring them up.
Hello there. This is Major Party, two-time Saskatchewan air guitar champion. And this is Major Party's Major Punch TV party. Now, when I'm not busy hiding from the paparazzi or running away from the hordes of fans that are continually following me, I am asked one question quite often: Major, because it is my first name, Major, how can I become part of the great art of air guitar? How can I find myself on stage with the great likeness of people like you? And I say, do you think it's that easy? Do you think it's that simple? Do you think that all you have to do is create an awesome outfit, have a great name, pick a cool tune, get up on a stage and rock it out? Do you think that's all there is? Don't you realize the countless amount of moments that are taken to planning an air guitar routine? Well, that's what I'm here for you today. Do you see, today I am going to help you begin to tap in to your inner Air-ness. Now you may say, Major Party, what is Air-ness? And I will say, if you have to ask, you'll never know. But one day you will, as I will probably discuss it later on in a different video. But today, through Major Party's guided meditation, I will help you achieve your inner Air-ness. First, sit up nice and tall and close your eyes. If you're uncomfortable closing your eyes, maybe try putting on a pair of dark glasses, like so. Perfect. Now take a big deep breath in and a big breath out. Are your eyes closed? Are you sure? Okay, just checking. Now visualize yourself on a stage with the crowd anticipating. Maybe it's back in the past where they're live, maybe they're watching on Zoom. And you put your hand up to start your song, and when the music starts, you feel the pulse of energy coming through you. And as you were strumming, and as you were picking, and as you're moving your arms, and as you raise your arm, and to show off all the tassels on your jacket, you can have as many tassels if you want, or you don't need to have tassels. It's your outfit. Tassels, no tassels, it's up to you. But as you're walking out, you feel the energy through you. You feel the light coming through you of the music. And as the last chord strikes, you hear the crowd chanting your name. Insert name here, insert name here, insert name here. And then you bring your arms down and you realize you have had the performance of a lifetime. Open your eyes and contemplate what you just experienced, discovering your Air-ness. This is Major Party, reminding you why be a minor when you could be a major.
Punch TV is brought to you in part by Amazing Stories, providing Saskatoon with comics, games, toys, graphic novels, t-shirts, and more for over 22 years. Online at AmazingStoriesComics.com, in person on 8th Street in Saskatoon.
Hey everybody, Craig Silliphant, the movie geek for Punch TV. Here's my review of Wonder Woman, one of the worst films of 2020. You can read more reviews at thefeedbacksociety.com. Wonder Woman 1984 is a 2.5-hour slog that takes most of the wonder out of the woman. More like Blunder Woman widescreen weighty bore, am I right? The movie suffers from superhero sequel bloat. 20 minutes in, the story starts to wheeze and sputter to a start. At about 40 minutes in, we've seen about 3 minutes of action with Wonder Woman herself, not counting the little girl Wonder Woman in her Amazonian Ninja Warrior Hunger Games contest. And at about an hour and 21 minutes, she finally appears at length in costume. Now, a lot of people love the first Wonder Woman, but it's actually, I found it kind of middling. I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, mostly because it was an antidote to the rest of the overly grim and washed-out Snyder DC films.
What does that mean? Why did you say that?
But it suffered from bloat too. I couldn't even get through it a second time when I tried to watch it again. That said, I don't want to underestimate that the movie was important in showing Hollywood that diversity could sell movie tickets too. People should have heroes that represent them up on the big screen. Now this time around, it's 1984 and the ever-wooden Gal Gadot is back as Diana Prince. Diana's working at the Smithsonian where she meets Jilly, the loser that even normal people can't help themselves from bullying, Barbara Minerva, played by Kristen Wiig. Pedro Pascal is wannabe success story Maxwell Lord. Pascal carries the movie for the most part. They encounter a magical monkey's paw rock that grants wishes, or something like that. This makes Lord and Minerva evil and brings back Diana's long-dead love. Yes, one of the strongest women in lore has been Chris pining over some frat dude for 60-some years. The story's convoluted, it's slow as the molasses in July, and it doesn't clearly establish its own rules. That's a big no-no in the suspension of disbelief that this genre relies on. One of the better bits of the movie is shoehorned in, where Chris Pine is trying to try on 80s clothes for a laugh or two. Oddly, after the sequence, he ends up wearing what he was already wearing, so it accomplished nothing story-wise. But they're trying to create the fish-out-of-water thing from the first movie, but with a time-displaced Steve Trevor this time instead of Diana. He marvels at or gets confused by an escalator, a subway, fireworks, all things that have existed since at least the 1800s. He also knows how to fly a modern jet because he's a pilot. I'm no expert in aviation, but I guess that flying a World War I plane and an F-14 are vastly different tasks. That kind of thing happens a lot in the movie. It's one thing to say, hey, relax, it's a movie, but another thing to treat the audience like they're total idiots. And again, I can suspend my disbelief enough to go with the idea that there's a Wonder Woman, an island of Amazons, even a monkey paw rock, but reality needs to act like reality. Wonder Woman 84 doesn't obey its own haphazard rules, nor many of the basic rules of reality. The action segments, though few and far between, are silly. Director Patty Jenkins uses that god-awful speed ramping effect that I thought had been mostly stamped out by now. And Wonder Woman has really taken to Spider-Manning all over with her golden lasso in ways that look quite unnatural and cheesy. Riding the lightning is definitely metal, but it looks stupid. And I'm not doing a lot of physics research for this review, but is lightning even a solid? Can you grab onto it? I've been pretty hard on Wonder Woman 84, but for a lot of good reasons. I will say that it does have better, more human stakes than the first movie, rather than the CGI destruction porn that hamper many superhero movies and the first Wonder Woman. The sequel pulls on the 80s Cold War nuclear war fears instead. It also creates characters like Minerva and Lord that are kind of sloppy, but they have some motivations, even if they're poorly handled. They make a fool out of Maxwell Lord, who is a mysterious and brilliant character when he's introduced in the comics, though there's room for different interpretations of characters, I suppose. This DOE sequel's trying to do too much, the narrative borders on incoherent, and worst of all, Wonder Woman's barely in it. I was also surprised by the lack of 80s music in a film that wants to lampoon that era. Through most of its running time, Wonder Woman 1984 is in a sustained nosedive in an invisible jet. It does manage a terribly rough landing instead of total and absolute Catwoman-esque level catastrophe. But even with all those faults, its worst crime is that it fails to do justice to Wonder Woman herself, a powerful feminist icon that we need right now. Diana deserves better than this, so do audiences. This is a frustrated Craig Sullivan, the movie geek, for Punch TV.
Hello, Punchers! It's me, Hank, and OMG, it feels like forever since I was on Punch TV dishing out everything you should be watching, reading, listening to, playing. So this month is going to be the first tweet beat of 2021. So for everything that you need to be checking out this month, here we go. Oh, there are so many shows and so little time. So let's start with Yellowstone on Amazon Prime. All right, so Yellowstone follows the Dutton family led by John Dutton, played by Kevin Costner, who controls the largest ranch in Montana, if not the largest ranch in America. Now, King Costner, or Dutton, is at odds with everyone around him as they're all trying to take his land away. They're trying to steal his land from him. Oh, big mistake. An intense, brutal, violent drama about family, tradition, and what a man will do to hold on to his dream of leaving a legacy behind him. There's 3 seasons out right now. Season 1, it's a slow burn, takes a few episodes to get into it, but it ramps up toward the end, and from there, it picks up speed all the way to the train station. And once you watch it, you'll get that joke. Trust me, that's funny. Season 1, I dished out a 71 out of 100. Season 2, right up to an 88. Things happen in Season 2 that you wouldn't believe. In Season 3, I'm going to give it a 79 out of 100. Now, it was a solid 85 until the finale, when things happened that were far past OMG, like Move a River with Dynamite level OMG. Word has it, Season 4 is done filming and it's coming soon, so you better get watching now. But warning, don't crazy binge watch this, because you'll start to feel that you are on the ranch, which is going to get a little embarrassing at home and a little embarrassing at work. Now, for family movies, let's talk about the sequel to The Croods, where we meet the Bettermans. The Bettermans, a modern Stone Age family. From the other side of the wall, they are a new age right out of history. That's right, it's the sequel we didn't need, that actually was pretty entertaining for the whole family. The Croods are still in search of a place to call home when they meet the technologically advanced Betterman family living in an oasis behind a border wall. Fun times are had until some angry monkeys kidnap the Crood dudes to sacrifice them to an angry banana-less King Kong large ape monkey type creature. 78 out of 100, great for the family. And last, I cannot say enough about this show, The Investigators on Netflix, an Australian kids show that makes me laugh as much, if not more, than my kids. A group of 4 grade 5 students, led by a better than Nancy Drew Maudie, start a detective agency to help their schoolmates and neighbors solve everyday crimes and mysteries. The stories are shot and edited with perfection, with a cast full of young actors with skills well above their age. It is so much fun, 96 out of 100. Also, really quickly, check out His Dark Materials on HBO, which is on Crave in Canada. And I watched Palmer, the new movie starring Justin Timberlake, on Apple TV Plus. That one you have seen 1,000 times, but this time it's got Justin Timberlake in it. The plot is so familiar that you're like, really? But with JT, how could you not watch it? Anywho, I got about 12 more. We've run out of time. Oh. So, that's about it for me. My name is Hank. For everything that you should be watching, reading, listening to, playing, follow at Fisher Cruise and at PunchYXE. Also, you should check out Punch Radio on CFCR every Friday night, and you can check out previous episodes on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify at PunchYXE. So, for me, I'm out. See you next time on Tweet Beat. Wait, could somebody pull me back up the hill?